Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Community Engagement Commission meeting, Wednesday, October 16th, 2024, 6 o'clock p.m. Calling the meeting to order. Roll call, Aaron Asmuth, Commissioner Aaron Asmuth,
Here.
Summer Darrow,
Here.
Arlene Fisher-Mar. Okay, Arlene's here. We know she's here. Cynthia Gamboni. And we know Cynthia's here. Mark Saba. And so Bill Norman has a conflict and he has to be excused.
Make a motion that we excuse Bill Norman from tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. On the agenda, are there any revisions, modifications? We're looking at the approval for the agenda tonight.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? And any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The minutes of the meeting for September the 18th, 2024. Approval for those.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay. Minutes approved. I like it, you guys. I like it.
Figured out. It only took us 1 year.
Yeah. Are there any public comments from the audience or online? Okay. No public comments.
Yeah. No. Silence.
City Hall updates. David?
I have updates to the updates from the last 24 hours.
Wow, hot off the press.
Yeah, hot off the
Like even
press.
within the last hour.
Wow.
Just want to update you on a few things, just things for you to know in case you interact with people and people may want to know what happened at city council. So I want to hit on couple of the bigger things. The mayor did her annual budget presentation last night via video. We have that posted on Facebook. It's 5 minutes. Very compact and informal as far as informational, as far as what the mayor is projecting to be some of the key projects and initiatives she would like to move forward through the budget process for 2025. And keep in mind, just because that's her budget proposal, the city council still needs to go through its process over the next few meetings, probably into December, finalizing it. And that's actually the formal budget process. We also had, people have been asking about this for a long time. We had the first presentations last night of people who are interested in operating the restaurant at Trailhead. If you want to see details, check out the video online. It's on YouTube. And I do know there are 2 more coming in addition to those 2 folks we heard from last night. I will squelch the rumor right now. One of the options is not going to be Pita Pit.
You know, I'm actually sad. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, because he's shutting down, right?
No, it is shut
It's
down.
already shut
It's
down.
gone.
It's already
Yeah,
shut down.
it's
Yeah.
gone. By the way, the 2 restaurants that did interview yesterday or presented, one was a sushi restaurant and the other one was an upscale Mexican restaurant. So,
Interesting.
yeah, very interesting. It'd be interesting to see the other. I thought it was only one more.
I think
There's
There were supposed to be
3.
There's supposed to be 2 last
2.
night, and then another one got added. to it.
Ill.
That was one of the people that we saw last night.
Oh,
One of the original 2 had to reschedule. And then in the meantime, I think even this.
Someone snuck in
A
this week.
4th person is coming, a 4th
We
operation.
got 2 more.
Oh,
so it's a
hope-
buffet is what we're getting.
I just
Okay.
hope, I'm hoping it's a pizza
And,
place.
and
I mean,
Yeah.
I will also squash the rumors that as far as I know, it's not going to be Godfathers.
Gosh.
So probably no Godfathers, no Pita Pit.
Going
Unless the 4th new person actually is Pita Pit. They'll have
You
to-
never know.
I mean, so we need
It's
another
an
sushi
upscale pita pit.
place. We need another pizza place and we need
An
another.
upscale pizza.
Another Mexican place.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
cool.
Pita.
Got it.
Yes.
And
You got it,
We got
Aaron.
3 Mexican places now.
also, just to keep you on the loop, we are going to be doing yet another promotion online tomorrow to try to get applications for commissions. We're needing 2 people for this group. We're needing One position in the library board still needs to be filled. I think there are some applicants in for that, but we're still going to be soliciting applications for that one. And I believe it's a Parks and Arts position we're looking for. Let's see, and then the other thing, just came in the last hour, I was talking with Lisa Key. She's saying that probably first January meeting for the planning commission, because you folks asked about this last month. They're looking at doing a joint meeting with you folks. I think that's probably going to be January 8th for the planning commission. Not focusing on comprehensive plan, although that may come into it, but looking at the sign code. So that's still, a few months away, but probably there will be the next group meeting with your group and their group.
You're looking at revisions to the existing sign code.
Yeah, I don't really know much in the way of details on
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna ask. Okay, we'll get more.
But
Yeah.
somehow I do know there's some kind of proposed community engagement component with that.
Okay,
That's why
Interesting.
she's wanting to
Okay.
bring you folks in.
good.
Cool.
Okay, more to come.
Um, I think that's all I got. Any questions on
No,
it?
no. Aren't you gonna tell them about the library?
Oh, yeah, I knew I was missing something.
And our
I knew I'm forgetting.
It only lasted an hour and a half.
Just gloss right over that. one.
On the agenda last night, again, in case people ask you about it, was a possibility of looking at an option for a site plan for the move into the new library facility. After, some extensive debate and discussion, city council voted to look at that again, probably around February, March. Did I pick that up correctly, Mark?
Yeah, it was February, March, yeah.
But
Hopefully.
basically, some members wanted to have some additional information. I'll just be general on that and
More to come.
not get into a lot of details like they did last night. If you need more details, watch the recording.
Mark.
Did I just end my time?
No.
I'm
At least
planning
he
on
knows his
being here.
phone is on.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for bringing that up because I knew there was something else on
Yeah,
there.
you're welcome.
All
Under
right.
commission reappointments.
I have information on that on item number 6.
Mhm.
Those of you in even numbered positions, I've got your names there. I think, if I remember right, it was Mark and Robin went through that process last year.
Yeah,
I think all we needed to have you folks do is just refill out the application. Was that correct?
Yeah,
And then there was no real formal.
I don't know. I'm an odd number.
No, I'm
even
trying
number.
to make sure
Oh.
my memory is correct.
Did you do? Yeah,
No,
you did it last year.
No, I didn't.
You did?
I'm with you on the list.
Oh, you are with me.
So I think
Oh.
all those in even numbered positions, Aaron, Summer, Cynthia,
Arlene and Bill.
Arlene. Just as in my opinion, it's a formality, because in my opinion, and I don't make the decision, but in my opinion, I hope we all have you reapply, that you're back here for another term. But you, just as a formality, fill that out, that application you filled out 3 years ago, or Arlene's case, a year ago, Cynthia's case, about 2 years ago.
well, no, Cynthia here is on position 5. So,
Yeah.
Do I have
he's
her
even.
down
He's
on-
odd.
she's an odd one like me.
Excuse me, Bill. That's
and
it.
I'm,
Bill, Summer, Arlene.
and I'm odd.
It's
Yes,
Bill, Summer, Arlene, and Aaron.
Mhm.
Yep, Bill, Summer, Arlene and Aaron, that's what
Uh,
it says here.
Technically, the overall rules say there has to be an interview process, but I know what the mayor did last year was she just said, I've interviewed those people by talking with them during farmer's market, and she says, I'm good. That may be the extent of it this year.
Sure. If we have a line out the door, it might change, but itching for the position.
Yep.
I have to start
It's fine.
campaigning.
All the
Mark
other
is driving
materials
us
you
all the
sent
way.
in the first time around, I don't think you need to do that again.
Okay.
Outside of just refill out the application form.
Yeah.
If you need to see the old one you did, just to copy information, let me know, I can get it for you.
Ooh.
Get on mine. Remember David?
What's that?
On my application, I just had to change the date, remember last year? It was-
It can be that easy.
No, there's probably a CC transcript somewhere.
I think there's
Okay.
a glitch in the
Okay.
recording.
so don't forget, get your apps in, you guys.
Can't wait.
No big deal. It sounds like.
I'll also add this. I don't think I had this on here, but we started on the city's Facebook site this week and into next week. We're going to be doing some just public service announcements about burglary, prevention, safety. There's been some incidents going on in the area last couple of weeks. So some folks from the police department put out a larger news release. I decided to divide it up into 6 separate posts with a little bit of design to it. There'll be 3 this week, 3 next week. If you can share those out with your contacts, you know, if one person gets helped, that's the impact.
Yeah, I think the more like those types of things are really helpful that we can like repost
Yeah.
through our own social media pages. I think those are things that are,
Yes.
those are things residents are gonna want.
Yep.
Right.
They're like, okay, what else can I do? Because it is definitely top of mind. I mean, you see the post from the police department. I mean, even Meadowood, when we were there, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
2 weeks ago, they had their pro shop broken into. Nothing
Yep.
was stolen, it didn't look like, but
Just
still.
got broken into. was all
Yeah,
good.
and so it's definitely happening.
Yep.
You know, we're a growing city. When you grow, things change demographically and you're gonna have more crime accordingly. So, yeah, no, sounds good.
But the police department last night at city council also gave a good presentation. Who's Officer
Kyle
Fritz?
Fritz.
Kyle Fritz? Who's
Yeah.
the
Public Information Officer.
PIO?
The PIO, yep.
The PIO, I had to ask what that was.
And
Public Information Officer, and he's the one that posts all the updates and the alerts that we see on Facebook and social media.
he may actually have been the author of this material I'm putting out, even though I've got Steve Simmons' name at the end of it, because he's the one who sent it to me.
Cool.
Okay. Cynthia and Arlene, do you have any questions on the handout and what we've just discussed? Okay,
No questions, nope.
okay.
Hey,
Now.
Is anyone planning on going to the comp plan kickoff?
Monday? Yeah,
Mhm.
you are too.
I'm just it's on the updates, just before we moved on.
I would
What time
encourage
is
it. It's,
that?
it's
I
not,
can't
a-
remember.
it's not an official event for this group, and I would encourage that for the information you're going to be
Oh,
hearing.
yeah.
I was just trying to bother Aaron because I'm sure he doesn't have anything scheduled.
No, he doesn't.
Say highly tentative.
Shh.
Yeah.
All right, I've said my piece.
That's 6 o'clock Monday, right?
I think
Seven.
it's 7
I
o'clock.
hope it's 7.
I got 7.
That's my bedtime.
I know, like I'm looking at
It's
that
the
going like.
comprehensive
dude,
plan, so it needs.
fall asleep.
I've heard it's expected to last at least.
Yeah,
Wow.
You think I'm contributing much to my Mustang? I don't think so.
Okay.
So I got a question about that. Is it basically run by Lisa? and
The planning team.
the planning team?
My mom's car.
But they would like us there for support?
I don't know if I would use the word support, but
Or
so
should-
you have the knowledge, and so
Oh,
maybe
so-
you can ask questions. There'll be an interactive component.
Okay. Sounds good.
I feel like I'm in a black hole. I'm assuming that's all been pushed out, social media wise and everything else to resident
Yes.
and all that
Yeah,
kind
we
of
got
fun
Yes,
stuff.
it has.
out there.
Signs and, yeah.
I think was in the last splash.
Maybe that's,
I-
I think I did.
yeah,
It was.
Yeah,
Because
Splash or
I had
Current?
asked them to
Yeah.
put in a graphic and they didn't include the graphic.
Okay.
Oh,
Because I think it was within the voter edition, right? The October one? Was it in that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that I do remember seeing
Yep,
that.
yep.
Yeah.
Same page, we had the introduction of Ben Turner on there
Yep.
with a photo.
no,
Okay,
They ran the photo, they didn't run my graphic.
okay.
50.
Are we ready to go on discussion and business? Farmers Market 2024 wrap-up, overview and suggestions.
I'll go first. I thought this year's farmer's market was awesome from our standpoint. I was a little disappointed that the other commissions did not participate like we had hoped they would. But as for us doing our diligence, I thought our outreach to the community was very satisfactory. It was very positive. I enjoyed doing it, and I think anyone who's out there enjoyed doing it too. And then on top of that, I think what Robin did with her weekly questions added a lot of people coming and engaging within the city booth. So that's my 2 cents for it.
Yeah, I don't think I have too much more to add to that. I think if you want to engage more people is to get more. Well, like it was a plus to have the magnetic board, the magnets, kids like to play with those, but they also like the stickers.
They
And
do.
yes, thank you. Didn't that helped a lot toward getting more people engaged, the family, the kids wanted, and you give them a sticker and
So
they
we should
could,
make a note of, we should go out and purchase our own type of stickers instead of borrowing from the library where we had.
well,
You
know,
did
what
buy
can,
those?
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I agree.
Did we run out of stickers?
Well, no, we had to get them from the library. I
Get them
did.
from the library. I think as a commission,
Oh.
we could go out and buy our
Let me
own.
know.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
but
If I may add,
Yeah.
I was thinking more along the lines of the Post-it notes. I was at the Barefoot in the park, booth. And I noticed that the Post-it notes, because they were in multicolored, and then and this was just a
Yes.
survey that we were asking, it was like, what would you like to see for the playground? Because they're going to remodel the playground. But just the visual of all of the Post-it notes, people were coming to that section of the booth because they were drawn in by the color of all the Post-it notes. So if we don't have stickers, we could use Post-it notes or something like that in addition to, the other options that we have.
I thought the stickers were a neat thing to give out to the little kids when they answered.
so I don't know why we can't have both. I like very bright colored Post-it notes.
Absolutely.
And I like stickers that we
Stickers.
give to the kids. They can take it home, put it on their lunchbox,
And they have the
whatever.
magnet board.
It's really, yes.
I think we have room in our budget.
I'm hoping we do. I mean,
Can we spend $100 on? stickers?
yeah,
We're
will,
good.
will that be released, David?
So when I'm hearing stickers, I thought you were talking about the little colored dots. You're talking about stickers with words.
A
and
graphic
pictures.
sticker that you can give to the kid.
The
Yeah.
graphics, yeah, they like animals, they like, there was such a big array that the library gave me. They had sports, they had cute animals, they had rainbows, they had flowers, they had cute stuff. So it's that really bigger flex, that option that it really drew the kids in.
Every kid loves a sticker.
I love
Absolutely.
stickers.
And so anyway, so here was the thing I did on the library, or no, what was it? Maybe it was the Park and Recs. I had some Halloween candy I bought her, and I thought, I'm gonna bring some, it's the last week of the farmer's market, celebrate. And so I put it, and it was the recreation survey. So I said, would you like a sticker or a Snicker or both? It was just one of those. I'm
And then she
sorry,
laughed at them.
but that's what I did do. And guess what?
Well,
And, and guess what? We got just tons of tallies.
love
So
it.
those are some ideas I think would work. And
Did you use that as a drawing mechanism to
I
get
hope
people to vote on the recreation survey then?
yeah,
Or they weren't coming so readily before that?
I don't know. They may have come readily before that, but at least
But it
it gave
helped.
me a talking point to
helped,
say,
yeah.
do you want a sticker? Or I'd
Sticker,
say,
sticker, or both?
you want a Snicker? It was worth a try and it worked. And I think we need to explore those bigger options and buy some bags of candy too. Just so we can, because it creates a safer environment for people to come versus somebody standing out there saying, hey, we have survey, man. Hey. With that, that's all I have.
I'll look into seeing what could be done purchase wise with that for next year.
Okay. The Hub Family Fun Fest Report, Mark and Summer.
I guess it was very successful. The turnout was really good. Now, on the flip side, most of the kids that came, and I think some of you can agree with me, attest this, had already gotten all their badges. I had 8, of which 2 of them were Summers kids.
Okay.
But that, it was more of a family fun fest rather than, I think, the booths that we had set up there were just ones that, they volunteered. I think, let's see who was all there. There was the library, the, Velocity and Zephyr was there, the two soccer teams. There was STCU and a couple of other ones, but for the most part, most of the kids had already gotten theirs, and I had a couple kids that came up and did it again, just to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So it was a fun event. I'd do it again
Cool.
next year.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it was a little bit different demographic than we normally get, just because it was a little bit further that way. So if we were to do it again, I don't, I just keeping that in mind in some way. So are these people as interested maybe in the city podcast? Maybe not. The people who are, Liberty Lakers, yes, but maybe there's something that's like, hey, in Liberty Lake, we have these things. Maybe it's advertising some of our other events like Barefoot in the Park or something like that a little bit, because I felt like a lot of people didn't necessarily live here. And so maybe that's something to think about next time around.
Okay, good. Thank you on that. Community satisfaction survey. So I read through it. We had already had a preview. And so were there any comments on that? Anything that, I mean, what we're looking for is comments on the 2024 report and suggestions for the 2025 survey outreach.
I guess for me, my biggest takeaway still is anytime we bring something up, whether it's an event or we're promoting something, that we sort of reference this in some way. So it's like, since safety was a main concern in our recent blah, 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 and just sort of referencing back to that in some way, since it is on the city's website. And I don't know what that looks like exactly, but, using the data within our talking points and promotion, I guess.
Okay.
And then at the same time, in the Talk Back Tuesday and other things, just really trying to get people's more exact examples. I mean, this is very specific. I certainly think it's, again, it's real specific, but trying to get people when they are complaining about something, try to categorize that a little bit or figure out if they participate in this, or I don't know. When there are complaints or concerns, pointing to this in some way too.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Mark McAvoy, did you have any specific requests that you wanted the group to provide you feedback on?
Not necessarily specific feedback. I think just a reminder that we need to, whether it's reconfiguring the committee or having time on each of the next two agendas to talk about the 2025 survey, I would like the commission to formulate some thoughts on the 2025 version. We had a brief discussion, I believe it was at the last meeting, about some potentials to trim down some of the content. But we need to make some final decisions before January so that we can have a final version that would go out in the middle 2 weeks of January when we have it scheduled to be distributed for 2025.
Mark, are we looking at, again, doing another community satisfaction survey for 2025? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, so if there are no, yes, so if there are no changes, and that's one possibility, it would be the exact same survey that you have the report for in front of you, just to a different sample size, or not sample size, but sample of the population.
Okay.
And that's to track changes of progress from year one to year two.
So if we're going to do this and formulate these items for the 2025 version, is it best to come back then and put that on for the November meeting? Or is it best to have it as a homework assignment?
I would have to come back on the November meeting and then possibly a homework assignment for December and final week of December. Set a plan up in November, and then if there is a need for homework, we'll have some homework. If not, probably might put it all together and then finalize it in December. So like Mark said, we can roll it out first of the year.
Okay.
I think that's the best thing.
Mark, does that work with you if we got you changes in after our December meeting?
Yeah, the timing of I mean, we want to have a final version, I think, going into January. So when we start planning the distribution, we're not making edits. But that time sounds fine.
Perfect. We'll shoot for it then.
Okay, this is just a question for other people. How does everyone feel about, like, I don't want to say the color scheme, but how does reading this graph work for everyone? Is everyone just like, I see it, makes sense, it's fine, it translates as a narrative to me?
So my opinion would be, I think so taking for myself, it's easy and it makes sense because I stare at data a lot.
Mhm.
So I think in that respect, those graphs make sense and they're easy to comprehend. The ones, like where it's just the yes, no, don't know,
Mhm.
far easier to deal with. The pages where you've got a whole page of data that you're staring at,
Mhm.
it gets a little bit harder to read. And then from a colorblind standpoint, I would probably lean away from reds and greens.
Mhm.
Just knowing that
Those are the ones.
those are the ones that, I
Right.
mean, yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, so for the small percentage of the population, I mean, that could make differentiating those shades more challenging. So that would be the only piece, like from a,
Accessibility.
from a graphical and
sure.
accessibility standpoint, it's something super small and really, I mean, does it make a big difference? Does it make a big difference in the grand scheme of things? No, but I think the piece that'll be really fascinating and it'll be, is could make the biggest difference is, where you're comparing year over year change on certain
Mhm.
categories. I mean, I don't know that I would do every single one because then it's going to turn into a total cluster. But picking 5 to 10 key categories that change and developing some nice infographics around those 5 or 10 key points.
Mhm.
Both things that are going negatively and, maybe the top 5 positive changes, the top 5 negative changes. And having infographics that represent those and maybe some discussion points on how the city is going to address those. I mean, I think those are things that can be helpful. I personally am not a big bar graph fan, but that's just
And I'm just asking so that when
Yeah.
we're promoting that we have, answers at this point for people, just what are people going to say? What am I prepared to answer them with, et cetera?
yeah.
Well,
I think
don't
it's
know.
I think
don't
it's
know. You
overall
look
it's
at-
great.
You look
Yeah.
at the comparison, you look at a bar graph and then, I don't know, some people just like
I love that. I'm
Yeah,
just saying I
just-
absolutely love it.
just the
percentage?
text,
Oh,
the
yeah.
text themselves,
So I'm just, my point is I'm happy. I think if it looks like this again,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Like we don't, next time around, maybe doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel.
I
I think we're all
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty
like I
much
said,
all
the only
agree
thing I
on
would say is
would
color,
be the color.
Cool.
tones, what Aaron said.
but I think you could develop some really cool infographics out of the data and that once you have comparables. The hard thing will be is it's a year apart. And so there's realistically not a lot of change, but then you've also got to weigh in the post-election,
Sure.
depending on when it takes place and how that may influence people's perceptions of whether things are good or bad or indifferent,
Well, hopefully with this, we can get more people. And I think we're still at that thing where we have a small amount of people. So our numbers are,
Yeah.
as soon as we get more people, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I want to follow up on one of Aaron's good points here. There is such a thing called red-green color blindness.
Yeah, that's,
Specifically.
that's what we were
Yeah.
saying, because that's the one that
That's
you're
the
gonna
main
have.
one.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
the
that,
one.
yeah, I mean, but I think, I think it's laid out well. I think, maybe, clarifying that on those bar graphs that it's ranked in order of something,
Mhm.
like versus what the question is it ranked in order of X, Y, or Z? The piece that stood out to me, just looking at the data that I thought was really interesting was the negatives. When we were looking at that, was I won't say complaints, but the percentage of people that were frustrated with property taxes and inflation,
Mhm.
right? Two things that,
Two things that we
from a
don't
city
control.
standpoint, like cost of living, inflation, and property tax were the top three, all above 10% on the greatest negative
Right.
impacts on the economy in Liberty Lake. And that's like, well, true, valid. Property taxes are only going to continue to grow up as your housing prices go up.
Right.
So that's going to continue to get higher. Same with
And then
cost
the
of,
school
cost of living is
bonds.
going to be right there with it. So yeah,
Sure.
it's really fascinating to say that.
So I
The
took it
thing is-
on to
The
a
thing
different
is, like,
level.
I'm retired, okay?
Uh.
School bond comes up.
Mhm.
I vote for it.
Yeah.
I don't have a kid going here, but I choose to live here in Liberty Lake.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of the,
Well, it's like, if you, strong neighbor or those strong residential neighborhoods that have higher housing prices typically have better performing schools that are funded at a higher level. So they feed each other as much as people get frustrated
yes, they
about them.
do.
So I'm gonna turn to the people that are zooming in, to Cynthia and Arlene. And do either of you have any comments on the community satisfaction survey? And any other thoughts on what we can do? Probably suggestions or enhancements to the 2025 survey outreach?
And granted, both of you only received a link to it.
No, my only thought was I like the red and green colorblind. My son is actually red and green colorblind, and so is my older son and my dad. So there are actually a good amount of people that I know in my life who are red green colorblind. So that's great. The only other thing that came to my mind was making changes to it. But I guess that's a conversation that we can have later down the line. But
Next month.
Next month, yep.
yeah,
Do
wondering if it.
Turn to,
Oh, sorry, what's that?
you want to mention at least in general what types of changes you're thinking of?
No, I wasn't thinking of any, I didn't have any changes to offer. I was just going to ask if the group thought like, because this will be the second year, and if we make any changes, then we don't have, it'll be different from that first year. And then what I'm saying is like, if we don't make any changes, now we have 1 year and 2 years where they're exactly the same. And so maybe that's going to give us some information that's helpful. If we change something up in the survey, how do we know we're getting a different result based on actual, opinions or based on what we changed? So we might want to be careful what changes we do make. Maybe they're just very minute changes.
I'm gonna say very slow, if anything.
Right? Or maybe just the second year don't change anything, so we can get at least 1 year of,
I agree.
we know for sure that any differences from last year's survey and this year isn't because of the changes in the survey.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in my thought already was that it would be parsing out things that are repetitive and things that kind of just don't fit for one reason or another, instead of creating more new stuff. I mean, that was kind of my thought, was that we'd be looking at what's kind of no longer needed or is repetitive. But yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, Cynthia, I totally agree with you. I think be right in line with what you and Summer are saying as far as look for things that are duplicative or not applicable to the survey. But other than that, not making any significant substantive changes as it relates to what's in there. Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed on the community satisfaction survey is, Arlene, are you still on? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Did you have
Okay.
any comments on the community satisfaction survey and observations?
I would concur with what's been said to everybody. my question is how many was sent out again? I don't recall the number that was sent.
660.
Okay, are we gonna do more than 660? I know everyone feels that that seems to be the magic number, but our community is well over 10,000.
That's what we're gonna discuss next month
Okay, thank you.
about.
Other than that, I concur with everybody. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. One of the things I've just noticed on the community satisfaction survey, I went more into the analytics and maybe that's where some of the repetition happened and where people actually, they wanted more police safety. Crime was one of those considerations that they didn't want. And so I was looking at related attributes that really tied those in on each questions and found some similarities. So I went more into the analytics.
I think that's actually addressed in our podcast episode about this. that
Mhm.
Just came out, that very topic.
So that's what I did. Even though I don't know if that's what you wanted me to do, that's just what I do.
Of course we did.
Thank you.
Didn't have it any
Okay.
other way.
Any further discussion on the community satisfaction survey? I think next month we'll formulate some thoughts for the 2025 version and come back with that on the agenda. Does that sound correct?
Sounds good.
Okay. So next one is video project. So if you recall, we left the video project. We looking at more recent history, some things around patriotism and civic pride, those types of things. But I think David and Mark had some other comments. They had a lot of other comments actually. And so I think we should hear those also.
Do you want me to summarize what we talked about?
Yeah, do you want me to, or do you want to?
Your call.
Well, you summarize and then I'll
Okay.
say, okay, this is what I remember and
Uh,
interpret.
Just as background, I am a big fan of history. That's been one of Robin's key ideas for the video project for the last year. And then she suggested let's move more into the area of promoting the value of patriotism, which is one of the values that was established by the city council for the city about a year ago. Quick background about myself, because this ties into this. I wrote a book about the 100-year centennial history of the college that I attended when I was working there. So that's what made me a big time history person. I put together a 20-minute video on the 50th anniversary of the agency that I worked for in Yakima just before I came here. I do history presentations about the life of Adam West in Walla Walla for the annual Adam West Day every September and the Batman TV show. So as Robin's been talking about this idea of a history video, I've been thinking the whole year, like, I would like to see this. I've been seeing like a presentation by Bob Schneidmiller during a Parks and Arts meeting here some months ago. I was kind of conceptualizing what could this video look like? But so knowing that, I'm also somebody who is legalistic when it comes to words. So I keep looking at Ordinance 277 about the establishment of the CEC. And I've gone over this over and over and over again for months. And looking at section 1 on establishment and purpose, the common message point that I keep seeing in was essentially 10 missions that are given to the CEC is the idea of connecting cities' projects and initiatives and capital improvements to the residents and vice versa, letting the residents find a way to find a conduit to communicate their interests back to the city leaders. I see things in there outline things such as exploring investments in technology for the city, as far as what the CEC is assigned to do, best methods to engage residents in the planning and implementation process of the city, promoting citizen input, suggesting policies for co-production with the city. All of this points back to the idea of how does the CEC come up with ideas, engagements, great initiatives to get the residents interacting with the city and getting the city's requests for plans and programs and projects known to the public. And I think of some of the great highlight projects this group has done, things like the town hall. That's a big one that got put together here a couple months ago. The Trailhead Initiative project during like month 1 or 2. The interactions you folks have with the community back and forth during farmers market. Things of that nature. And I keep looking at this and I keep thinking myself, and I'm not a voting member of the group. I'm not technically a member. You folks are the members. I don't see how history of Liberty Lake ties into what the group is assigned to do. I would like to see that video, but I don't see how the CEC has been charged to do that type of a project. So my recommendation, this is not, micromanage or anything. This is just me providing my guidance and thoughts and ideas. If there is the idea of wanting to do some kind of a video project, my suggestion would be look at section 1 of ordinance 277, look at those 10 points. Those 10 points are really the goals of anything this group does, whether it's town hall, farmers market interactions, barefoot in the park interactions with the public, hub interactions with the kids at the Family Fun Festival. Anything that this group does really should be tied in with one of those goals or one or more of those 10 goals. And then come up with a tactic, a plan, a program, could be a video, among other things, could be posters, could be an event that ties into the accomplishment of at least one of those goals. Again, I would like to see a video, but I just don't see that as being, I keep looking at the words. I don't see the words indicating that creating a history video ties in with the mission assigned to this group for the Community Engagement Commission. Other options could be members of this group could interact with other people in the community, people who have a video camera, and interview some of those people like Bob Schneidmiller and Arlene talking about things that she was talking about here during a meeting a couple months ago. Those stories to me are interesting. I would like to see those stories. I'm just, as much as I keep trying to, I don't see that in the words there in section 1 of ordinance 277. That's my reaction.
Do you have anything you want to recap from your?
Well,
I like the idea of it though.
it's not just the history, it's the value, it's our culture, it's brings people in, it's another form of outreach in my mind. So, and I think it is important that we stick with what we had. I think that, I think it will eventually, I think it's going to help production. I think it's, those bylaws to me, that's just the minimum. And I think the minimum is just hanging out at farmers market and saying it's good and that we can do that, but I think there's more. So I don't share the same feeling that David does. And he knows I don't, but like they said,
That's
they control the purse strings on this one. If they're gonna write off we have $8,500, what is it? $8,500 we put in the budget for this year on that. And so that's sort of where it's at.
What do you mean? What do you mean they control the purse strings?
Well,
What a budget they approved.
Right.
yeah,
Well, I mean, but good job to execute what we want to execute.
well, I think within the parameters that, I mean, there's gonna be a contract, there's gonna be procurement, and staff's gonna end up signing off on that, not us. And so that's where,
Is it staff or city council? I thought we reported city council. We don't report staff.
right, That's-
David?
that goes above my
I
head.
would think at various levels, ultimately, I think it is city council.
Yeah, more so the city council. That's what I thought.
And I don't want to have anybody be misled. I'm not saying a video can't be done. I'm saying the video project, according to the way I interpret section 1 here, should tie into one of these goals. Now, such goals of that could be things like informational videos on how the public can provide public comment during the state legislative session. That was one of the issues that was brought up during town hall. To me, that would fit with this community interaction between the cities, city council and mayors request to get city and residents involved with the legislative engagement process. A video could be done on that. I'm trying to-
Can I ask a question? I don't,
Yes, yes.
are you guys,
Yeah.
I had to change over to my iPad and so the internet's a little bit different. So if I'm choppy, apologizes for that. David, if I understand you correctly, is it kind of because if we're doing this history video, it's almost like an informative video, like as if we were teaching the community about the history of Liberty Lake, which is where you're kind of finding that you're not sure that that fits with what our objectives should be. And if that is how you're interpreting it, what if we just change, if we're still really like, well, we really like the idea of a history video, but we need to engage the community in it. So, because that's what we do. So what if we kind of did this whole project as like a project that we were sharing with the community from the start? So we're going to make a history video, but before we do that, we're going to go out to the community and start somehow asking questions about what are some stories you've heard, and let's find out if they're true, or what are some stories that you have questions about, or have you ever heard about the ski resort that used to be here? Or we could come up with prompts, and we could do the prompts somehow by getting them either mailed out, depending on our budget, or through Facebook, or just through like word of mouth, or many other ways. But we could kind of like, as we're doing the project, show that here are our questions, here's how we've asked them, here are the questions that we got back. So now we're going to answer those questions because did you see what I'm trying to say here? We could make this project more of just more of a project than just a history video. And you're saying like, if it's just a history video, we need to think bigger if we're going to do something like that, because we're not here to just teach the public about the history of Liberty Lake.
I think that's a good way to put it. It's not just, it needs to be like, I like your idea. It needs to be bigger. It also needs to be more directed to the actual stated mission of what the Community Engagement Commission has been stated to do in Ordinance 277, which is, again, most of this stuff points to the concept of ways this group can connect the mayor and the city council to the residents and on projects related to city projects, initiatives, capital improvements to residents, and vice versa. What do residents have to say to the mayor and city council that they need to hear? Now, if some way a project such as a video can do that, if it fits one of these goals, in my opinion, yeah, if it fits, it fits. It basically needs the topic of the video needs to fit one of these 10
And I think the
mission statement.
video, see, that's where I have conflict, is that I think the video strengthens the bylaws, that these are minimum, and that we should be looking at, it uses in the bylaws, you said, go read the bylaws, innovation. And so we're not going out of the parameters. That's how I view it. I mean, I recognize, like what you said, yes, you cannot sign the contract or anything. I mean, you could squash it, and that's what I guess, is that where the CEC wants to go right now?
I'm not talking squash. I'm
So
saying
that we don't have to go through this, I don't want to be like,
No, I think this should be, I think this is an opportunity for a lot of positive things, and I'm just spitballing here, but I think that, let's say, for example,
I mean,
just-
maybe the word history is just getting
Well,
everybody
okay,
stressed out.
maybe it is, right? But let's find a way to weave it in. This is my pitch for this
Yeah.
moment right here. Every year, for example, the Community Engagement Commission does a video. That video engages the public with the purpose of showing the community to City Council. Every year, that's our way of giving a voice to the community, a voice for the community, to City Council, a way for us to represent the group as a whole. That could be things like people telling their different stories, people, talking about their complaints, their this, whatever, a little thing. And there's plenty of room for history in that. It's this is how it's been before. We can, again, I can see so much of that. Like, this is the type of event I miss. And then we have a little bit about that. So to me, history can be woven into every single video we do. I had the idea before of like, if we're doing something on an event, showing the history of that event within the promotion of it.
And we talked about, yeah.
So I think the history is great. I don't know if we're doing just a straight history video, which I'm not opposed to at all, and I think is a great thing. We think about, where does that go? Do we have a big event that's like, say it was a town hall or something? That's a kind of weird example, but let's say we're having a town hall, and at that town hall, we would be presenting this video about the history because the topic of the town hall has to do with some historical thing that is either coming or going, something like that. So if we can tie a historical video to an event, or, you know, maybe it's a library thing in some way because it's a archival thing, but if it's tied to a community event in some way or a community action or something, I see that as being very easy to make it a history project.
And I do too. I think
you're
we
good
are.
there.
I mean, we talked about on that, Hometown Heroes,
Uh-huh.
you know, that's event. And I forgot the other event that we
Sure.
talked about, but we did. So.
So I
yeah,
think if we
I think
reverse
so, too.
engineer this a little bit, that might sort of help bridge things a little bit. And I think it would be useful because, again, it's one thing to make a great video that people
Yeah.
might decide to watch, but if we really have a plan for where that goes or
Yeah.
why, I think we could think on that. And then
And then
do
we
it.
talked about like the trilogy, or, you know, and I call them vignettes,
Sure.
so that they're not long, but you know what? They're snippets of this time, the event. I mean, we went through that. But Mark, are you on? So, yeah, I mean, join in because that's where we're at. Mark?
Yes, I'm here. Do you have
Okay.
a question?
Thank you. Thank you. No, I just thought that you would like to join in on that conversation. That's all.
I don't have anything to add at this point. I think you guys have touched on some of the main points.
One other thing we discussed with Robin here last week was the idea of having some kind of a subcommittee to look at over the next couple of months, some concepts of how, if you want to go the approach of a video, how that could work. And we've had success with subcommittees in the past, and then bring it to the full group start of the year. Really, a good video project is going to take some time to plan out. Mark McAvoy has informed me, I didn't know this is quite how the process worked, but if something is budgeted with this group, it needs to be a completed project by the end of the year for that calendar year. So unless you can whip something together by the end of December this year, the video project, assuming the city council approves it, the funding for it for 2025, would be what I see would be an ongoing project for 2025.
Mhm.
Plan out the year, figure out if you want to do this, if you have the subcommittee, coming up with a couple options for the rest of the group to maybe discuss on at a November, December, January meeting. And then you can start planning out what components do we need throughout the spring or into summer. And then what's our goal for getting this completed for maybe a particular event we want to show it at. And I'm going to say again, I like what Summer's suggesting here. This is why we have so many of you here to get different ideas, to go beyond just straightforward history, but to tie it into talking about how things were, but here are individuals telling their needs, their stories to a video we could show the city council and the mayor so they get the information they need from the residents, which is what section 1 is all about. And then in the
Well-
meantime, as you're getting this footage as a side project, you can also get all this history and have somebody edit that together as a separate history project, which was Robin's original plan. Everybody wins.
So just a couple of pieces.
Hold on. Oh, okay.
Oh, go ahead. Did you want to go, Cynthia?
You want to, okay, Cynthia, did you have something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was just saying, I loved what Summer said too. When she said that, I could almost see the video in my head with like community member and the name underneath it. And yeah, I agree. That's all.
Okay, Aaron.
So I think the concept can be done really well. as far as, you know, like somewhere like what you were talking about. I think the pieces that go through my head that are the challenges is not necessarily the content or getting the content. It's about putting it into a format, including from a length standpoint, that is going to be digestible. Because I can see it turning into, like, even if we're like talking about the library, like, I think that like that's probably a great example of, we have a library project coming up. It's a great idea to talk about the library, engage with the citizens about what they want to see in the library, why it's important. I mean, there's
The
so
history
much
of the library.
like, where was the library originally? What did it originally? I mean, there's so many really
Mhm.
cool things. And then like, here's the vision of what we wanted to see. Like, I think there's some really cool context and information that you could kind of glean out of that project. But that video could turn into an hour real fast.
Sure.
And let's be honest, who's going to watch it? No one.
They're not.
Right. So, you know, it's like
Video.
so it's like, then if you go, okay, we got to pare it down to, like, when we did our fundraising videos for the organization I ran, and it's like, okay, we did our fundraising appeal videos, you know, back in the day, we're like, it was no more than 3 or 4 minutes.
Sure.
And, you know, and after 4, you're losing people. And so it's like, I think that's the mindset that I would almost approach it through, and saying, okay, what can we piece together that would, you know, I think 4 minutes is too short, but I'm just saying from a concept standpoint, it's like, that's where it becomes really challenging to say, okay, we want to do this, and what does it look like? I think it starts with just focusing on the library. It's like, what is the intent of that video? Is the intent to inform city council? So then it's one set of paths and things that we can go down. Is the intent to inform the citizens? Because you could formulate 2 very different videos that could be published, you know, and put together, that have, you know, very different sets of content in theory, right? That is focused on 2 very different audiences. You know, city council, we want you to be informed from the citizens on what they want and what they're looking for. Citizens, this is what the city council is, you know, moving forward and doing, et cetera. So I think there's different directions that we can end up going down. I think I liked the concept, I like the idea, but to me, where I go is less in the history end. I know that's where
Well, no, I mean,
we're kind of
think
where
that we
I
can,
think it's where it started, but I think to me, it's like, I almost go like, okay, do citizens even know what the city has done over the last 12 months?
Mhm.
Probably not. Like, I mean, think about all the projects the city has accomplished over the last 12 months in 2024.
Yeah.
And, you know, and where, hey, we have a community satisfaction survey. Like, we have all these new faces and people and doing all these things. And we had Barefoot in the Park, and we had the car show, and we've had the Mutt Strut thing, like all these things that were both city and community things that were taking place that people probably don't know and or appreciate all the other things that were actually going on. So I think there's a lot of different ways it can go down from an informative standpoint on the video side of things that would help people understand all that the city is doing,
Mhm.
and in turn engage them in the conversation on how they can help further. You know, and I think at each of those is being like, hey, you want your voice heard about these projects and or events, or you want to be more involved in this. This is how you do it. Like that, like to me, like that's the tagline and the kicker through it all, which is always looping back to getting them to re-engage in whatever that process or that project is. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. I think there's a lot of different ways you could go down it. I think it's trying to figure out what pieces you want to tackle. And
That's
then
why I thought,
jump
you
in and
know,
do it. It's just, and I
Yeah.
think you can do it in a way that's still in the spirit of the bylaws and still like threading that needle between all the different pieces. And ultimately, I think is, especially in the world we live in, a video is going to be far more meaningful than, you know, a 30-page
Mhm.
report, which to me is fascinating, but
Sure.
and then analysis.
You know,
So I thought
Reading
that,
it
and
by
I
the
agree
fireside.
with that, Aaron. Yeah, especially on the longevity, you don't want to see an hour, and that's why I thought whatever you do
Yeah.
for a video, you want to do it like, I call them vignettes, with our more short, informative types of snippets. that you can get through, understand what they're saying and go in that way. But I don't think that we need to, and I hope that we don't just go down the trail that if it doesn't exactly, let me see, I know with the CEC bylaws, but I'm hoping we can do things that enhance the bylaws. Otherwise, we'll just, yeah, we can do farmer's market and just leave it at that. But I think it's much more.
No, there's room. Any idea you or we have in any way can be fashioned to answer the call of the bylaws. That's easy because we're operating
what I
under
think.
the idea that we want
It's
to
outreach.
infuse those with everything. Yeah. So I think we're just, yeah, I don't see that as necessarily the issue. I just think that to make sure that we're using those as helpful guideposts or whatever, that we maybe
Yeah.
reverse engineer. We start with that and then sort of answer the question, even if we
And
already
that's
know what
fine.
the answer
Yeah.
is, and the answer is a history of it, whatever that is, if we start there and kind of go
Leave
the
it
other way.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
let's
would
just
totally
take
agree.
that word because it's caused so much consternation, history out, okay? We'll just take that word out because that's, it's caused too much. And we focus on then how are we going to do like some vignettes
Yeah.
that make it work.
And I
then,
think that'd be so cool.
and then we'll put in those areas of the past because you're going to need background and context. Otherwise, people won't ever have that relationship and nexus, to where it came from.
Mhm.
Just one moment. Arlene, are you still there? Are you online?
Yes, I am. I'm listening to all of this and I I would agree with what you're saying, Robin.
So, and you yourself have enormous amounts between
Mhm.
how you've seen, Liberty Lake grow and what, and I think that's an important portion. Now, not that we
it
have
is.
to focus, but it's an important portion.
It is. It's very important, right?
So I'll take out the word history. It's caused way too much angst.
I don't want anybody to misinterpret me to think I'm putting a ban on history. I'm saying that can still be there, but it should not be. the
It should not,
100% sole focus.
we're not doing a
I-
historical
I-
documentary.
Focus.
I like the way you
Right.
phrase this, Aaron.
Yeah.
I like the ideas and concepts that are being generated here that started out with one thing, but let's make it bigger, and in making it bigger, it goes back to what the ordinance says.
And I
But
think,
it can still include the history.
yeah, I mean,
so-
like Barefoot in the Park is a great example. Like the historical context of what that event is, what it is meant to the community, what it means to the community members. I mean, when you think about like the city's doing budgeting all the time, right? And they're looking at where are they going to cut, what are they going to get rid of, what are they going to keep, what are they going to add? Where residents can stand up and say, this event or thing is important to me because of this, this, and this. It's like, so there's those historical stories like you're talking about, Summer, bringing those into the fold and being informative and, really, I mean, you think about the emotional pull about, I'm sure there's some really cool, like emotional stories about all of these different events that have taken place over the years. And, that's the city's a part of or, engaged with. And so I think there is a lot of opportunity and I think it could be a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
You could spend the entire year doing videos on all sorts of stuff and just get lost in the weeds and create some really cool things. And I think ultimately, if we can keep that kind of piece that's in front of us where it's like, how can this positively impact residents, and then how can it positively impact council? And then get, which is what ultimately everybody wants, right? When you look at the satisfaction survey and you hear the rhetoric from council, they want more conversation and dialogue. It's hard to do, right?
Okay. So
Yeah, how can we do that? I think there's cool things.
so Winter Glow, let's just think like something like Winter Glow, for example. If it's coming up and there need to be volunteers, I personally would really respond well to a little video that people have maybe sent in their favorite pictures a few weeks ahead of their favorite pictures from Winter Glow, and a little compilation of that, and then an ask from somebody for volunteers and a little picture of some, some
Mark's
volunteers
out
and
there
things.
with a hammer.
Right. And he's saying like,
going,
do you want
"Please
me
help."
doing it by myself? I can't do it. I'm retired. I can't do the whole thing myself. I need young people, so that ask, which is needed, being promoted by us, having people send in their stuff
Totally.
in a short way could also, of course, have the history, a little moment where somebody says, oh, well, these are the guys who got it together, blah, whatever that looks like. If we start doing that for upcoming events that we now know kind of what we have going on, I mean, I think that would be a lot of fun. And I think it's a great way and real easy to put previously happened things. in
Well, I don't.
my
how-
history.
how-
I
how
think
can you-
it
How can
fits
you
into
get
where
by
you're going.
without including some context?
Yeah.
And context
I'm
is
saying,
just- I just
100%.
don't know how you can do that.
No, you need it. So that's great.
Well, so we there's two people from the Friends of the Library who pulled together a great presentation. And it's like, what are the Friends of the Library about? Did you know? Because nobody knew what it's
Sure.
about. And they included the history because they had to,
Sure,
because
absolutely.
nobody knew what the Friends was about.
Mhm.
And it was very well,
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
it was
And
really
we-
good.
Mhm.
And it was what, 5 minutes?
Yeah,
Hopefully
5 minutes.
Yeah. And it was awesome.
So I just asked that we consider a video element, which when we were talking about the budget before, that's what I was really hoping for on some level is we consider a video element to every upcoming project that we have, whether it's
It should be.
a full-on thing that we plan months and months in advance and really go hardcore with, or whether it's something a little more on the fly.
I mean, you can shoot some easy stuff on a cell phone nowadays and just piece it together and be like, do something
Fact,
quick and dirty.
I didn't go to school for film and TV, so it's fine. I
I
don't know what I'm
didn't
talking
either.
about.
Like, it's just, I mean, we
I
could do
did
some
not
really good
either.
stuff. Like Mark's interview for Winter Glow could be really cool. Like get an interview of him like out there by the shed, like trying to weed through this stuff. Like it could be really fun. Come on.
See?
And that's part of the planning aspect of this. If you know kind of what general project you want to do during the year or part of the year,
Mhm.
know ahead of time, oh, when Winter Glow happens, we gotta get footage of Mark going through the storage stuff.
Yeah, we could lock him in there. I mean,
Okay. What we need to do is we need to take the community calendar for next year.
Yeah.
And highlight specifically maybe 5 items or 5 events that we want to focus on.
Yep.
A video. Definitely be the farmer's market. We know that would be one of them, okay? Barefoot in the park.
mhm.
Possibility, the mud strap, the soiree, I'm just listing off
Yeah.
the top of my head, the rim ride, people don't know about the rim, a lot of people see it, but what is it,
Yeah.
I think the Rotary would love to have a video on that.
Hometown heroes.
And, just a number of things like that, and that's just my thought, and if you
Yeah.
like, I can proceed ahead of that and get it, do the homework on that and bring it back to
Okay,
the November.
like it.
Or probably be the December meeting, because we probably won't have dates on a lot of things yet. And, I can bring it back, I can bring back a rough draft next month. But
Yeah.
if you want the full meal deal, it'll probably be in December, so.
yeah, well, just a rough draft's great,
Okay.
you know?
Okay,
mean,
I can do that
The,
next
the
month.
thing, and it is true, I mean, our money comes and the
I'll just
staff,
ask David to give me a copy of this year's calendar, and then I'll
Okay.
just go and investigate and find out, dates and everything and see how we can. Cause everything's gonna be pretty close to what the date was, if it's gonna be back, everything's gonna be, we know when the dates are gonna be, they're gonna be close to that, so. Okay, I'll come back with some.
and then let's think of it in terms of more vignettes or
Yeah. Oh,
shorter
yeah, it's gonna be short and
things.
sweet.
I mean, that's why I said the last time.
And then we string them all together at the end of the year and present them to
Yeah.
city council.
Yeah.
Look at all the
it
things.
will actually, it will give us something to talk about.
We need an hour.
Yeah, that's what we can show at our workshop. We can actually
We got
have
a whole
something.
hour,
Yeah.
45 minutes. It's great.
Okay,
Now, Robin, I don't want to cause you to pass out, but I'm going to say I'm honestly excited about this conversation that's been going on with this. The way I can kind of conceive this is we originally had this bubble this bubble of history video. And then the bubble's been expanded into, the history is still there, but there's more of this bubble. And the bubble has eventually merged into ordinance 277, section 1. So we were able to, I think we can still achieve your original vision for this, but get it lined into what the ordinance says the group is mission to do. And as I said before, I'm just kind of floating this idea out for anybody. As you're interviewing people, you can get additional footage where you talk about the history. And then at some point, at least you got that footage, and then you make that another project that somebody else can edit together down the line. So at least those stories get preserved. And I feel it's very important to get history preserved while the people
Okay.
are there to tell those stories.
Glad you're happy. Yes, we got through this.
Awesome.
Right now, Robin, we had talked last week. Did you want to create a subcommittee or just let people be assigned to do certain aspects of this during the next couple of months?
Just have people do certain aspects for the next couple of months. And then create the ones that say, okay, who's got the passion for this? We create
Well, I
the
think-
subcommittee.
And then once you figure out like which ones we're gonna pull the
Yeah,
trigger
'cause
on,
it might be
then you build
different
a subcommittee.
people with, yeah,
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, I think, yeah.
Let's get the groundwork taken care of first. We need that, and then we can develop it from there.
And we
Okay.
need a video of Mark in the shed.
Not this year.
And I want to see, no, I like to see Mark when he's out there. I've seen him at Winter Glow and he has a little cap on and he's driving that little cat.
Skid
and-
steer.
Yeah, the
There you
skid
go.
steer and he's going back and forth. That's the one, that's the photo. Okay, so I want to check in with, is Mark McAvoy, are you still on? Does this sound more appropriate?
I'm not the barometer of appropriateness.
But you know what, like you said,
That was great.
you're gonna approve like the contracts, the things like that, and the procurement, and so is this headed in a direction that you feel comfortable then with?
Well, that's for the commission to decide. I mean, the concern that I expressed was the timing, because the email that I received, you were trying to complete a video in 2024, and my concern with that was there just wasn't enough time to do that, and pay the bill in 2024, which is what the city's procurement process requires. So if you're now shifting focus to 2025, I think you have all the time in the world and there's no issue.
Okay, yeah, we'll shift it to 2025, especially when I understand the city's procurement process, which I didn't know before.
And as all of you are thinking about these next steps over the next couple of months, consider the possibilities of not only hiring a professional videographer but also free people. Could a high school class do this? Could a local college student do this as a college project?
I think it'd be great.
Do you know people who could do this in your own homes or neighborhoods?
I think there's an opportunity. It's right down the road. Ridgeline High School.
Yep.
Kids are looking for extra credit. We can offer it up. Just an idea.
Okay, and then I've been in contact just from a conceptual point with, there's professional videographer company also here in Liberty Lake. So, okay, we're done with that project. Okay, CEC work plan update, Aaron.
Yeah,
After
can
4
I
months.
share my screen? Like, might be easier. I mean, he printed this out.
I did as best I could of a printout of a long Excel
Yeah, I
spreadsheet, but
know.
it didn't all fit.
I know. Can I share
Um,
my screen? I'm on Zoom. I'm on Zoom. Can you unlock it?
Wake up, Evan.
Can I share screen?
Yep.
Oh, there it does. It does. Fantastic. Look at that. Click on the right one. Share.
Yeah, please.
There it is.
Hey.
Oh, there's lines.
Yeah, there's a line. Here. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so, I changed this, I mean, even since I sent it to David yesterday, I changed it again. So there's two different tabs. So there's a project tab that I created, which is over here on the left. So projects, so city council workshop, comp plan, annual community survey, special project video, budget simulation tool, et cetera. So within each of these, the left-hand side is kind of our status column. So what you can do is you can click over here. There's a little drop down that we built in, maybe. Hey, there we go. And we're going to say, hey, it's completed. Waha. Or we're going to click at this one or be like, well, it's not completed. So everything's, I like colors. So no, not started yet. And then we can go along, we can add whatever specific task we want in here. So this is going to be, I don't know, plan stuff. We're going to say Mark is responsible. Saba, good job. And then, as you punch in the date, so four, and then, oops, this is where I'm looking at that screen. Hold on. So you can enter a project start date, when you want that task to be completed by. You're like, it's going to be completed by the 7th. And then it's going to tell us maybe if we can get over there. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why won't it let me go over? Oh, there we go. Okay. So then as you go over, it'll tell you how many days it's going to take. And then it's going to automatically fill the days of when that activity is going to take place. So as you adjust, you're like, okay, well, this isn't the 7th anymore. This is the 6th. It's going to automatically adjust the color coding. So it's kind of it's an interactive Gantt chart. So the nice thing is as you build it and add different things in there, you can not only see where things are at from a status standpoint, but then we know where things should be completed so we can not overburden any particular member along the way, right?
So what kind
That's
of
it.
stuff are we looking for that you need me to do by the 7th, 6th?
Plan stuff. You need to plan some stuff, Mark. That's what you need to do, man.
Okay, I'll plan all this.
Lots of stuff. So anyway, so that's kind of the intent of it. And then with the event calendar, I created a secondary tab just as we were kind of talking here. I think we should have a secondary tab just for the event side. So that way we can look at events separately. And so same thing. So farmers market, we know the event runs, what is it? May 1st, right? 25 through October 1, whatever, 25, right? So it tells us it's 153 days. And then as we go through, it's going to find us.
There it is.
There's Barefoot in the Park or farmers market. So we know that's when farmers market's going on. So, and then as we build in Barefoot in the Park and the tasks that go with it, so you can still do the same thing. So if there's specific things that we want to add in with the farmers market from a task standpoint, we can do that. Again, same things we can add. There's the status column still exists here. I don't see that necessarily being used as much necessarily unless we're building out like that video project. Maybe we have that here as just as part of that event as a capture.
Perfect.
And then on the project end, you can still have it. And then I would still list the video project on the projects tab, just because it can be a little bit more detailed as far as what you're specifically doing and where things are at. You know, you'd have a singular line on the event side and then something more specific here. The nice thing is obviously we can assign it to a bunch of people. I'm going to add some filters in here or some filter buttons just so that we can filter by different things. So we'll be able to filter by project and person responsible. So that, you know, if you want to see things that are only assigned to you, things that you need to be working on, you can be able to do that. So that's kind of one other iteration that will add to this. I mean, that's kind of the concept of it. I feel like it'll at least give us a quick snapshot that we can kind of print out. I did it by day. As we go back to the event one, because it was showing versus the project one. Come on. Oh, because I've got too many screens open. Go away, Zoom. There we go. There we go. So I did it by day. I still feel like day makes sense versus week completion.
Yeah, because Barefoot
Yeah.
Park is only 2 days.
It's
one
only
day.
one day,
day,
right?
yeah.
You know, but you still have things that are gonna go into it, you know,
Right.
it's like, okay, barefoot in the park, like, are we gonna?
You got your
set
setup and your tear
set
down.
up, the tear down, the painting thing that we participated in a couple of years back. I mean, whatever we're gonna do. So I think it's all of those pieces that can kind of get added in there along the way. So I added this to the basically I need to figure out how to share it with everybody. But it's on it's on my city share drive or OneDrive. So now once we kind of have it in a good place, then we can share it so that you guys can all access it. And then that way we aren't having to worry about sharing Excel files with different formats and things. So it'll auto save to one place. And then it'll be one location that everybody can access and view. And then as you're making changes to it, it's live in a real time. And then you don't have to worry about going, oh, wait, did I send this? Did I save it? Did it disappear? All the fun things that go with that.
What version am I in?
Yeah, literally. I mean, yeah, it's like a bane of my existence on some things. But anyway, so that's kind of the idea of it. I think it could work. I think the biggest piece with these things is not to let it feel overwhelming, like it has to capture everything, right? On the task end, it should be, you know, big pieces, you know, what are big milestone portions of things that we have to get done. And then as you're owning things, so like on the project end, if you're owning like Summer and Bill owned the town hall that we did, like they owned that, you know, so they're the persons responsible for that. You know, they can really be the ones that are kind of spearheading that. They can assign other tasks, you know, kind of subtasks to people along the way. And then we know what it looks like. So anyway, that's what's there. We can dump in, you know, whatever events we've got, we can start dumping those in. We can, you know, reorder some things in different ways, but anyway, that's kind of.
I think it's great.
I think it's great.
Um,
too.
That is really good job.
I would pitch maybe if we can have just a small column with or around the person, physical items needed or purchases, basically. Because I found a lot of our things are like, who has the bin, who has the stuff, or whatever that is.
So like,
Physical items needed, purchase, but location of the item, whatever it is. Again, I'll.
Resources needed.
Yeah. But again, not necessarily in the to accomplish the task, but
Mhm.
more for what actually needs to be there at the event or whatever that is.
okay,
Um,
so something just like that. Is that what you're thinking?
100%.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's easy. Yep.
I'm just trying to think of anything that we actually have to physically talk about. If we can avoid that and just have it in your actual, that'd be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
You already took away half the conversations that we have.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah. You have stickers?
you. Yes. Drop down.
Bill and Summer's
Stickers.
book.
Yeah.
Notebook.
Bill and Summer's book. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Notebook
great.
availability.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, okay,
Did you
Great.
think Aaron, yes or no?
yeah,
Clicking buttons.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
we'll figure
great.
that.
I really like that. So
Mm,
now we
Cool.
just got to give Aaron some items so that he can populate.
Yeah, more you can share, the better.
I tried. I'll give you some few things here and there.
Yeah. I need to get, hold on.
Okay, so let's go to other upcoming opportunities. So I need to fly this by the group. So I know the holidays are coming up. I know it's a busy time for everybody. Should we try and combine, like, for example, next month's November meeting and call it November, December meeting? Or should we just keep it as is? Because I know that people could be gone, and I'm trying to just do the best that I can to accommodate.
December meeting is December 18th, by the way.
18th or 20th?
18th, isn't it?
No, it's the 20th.
Was it the 20th?
No, it's the 18th, right? The third Wednesday.
November-
Third Wednesday. I would agree with your thought, Robin. I'd like to, because I know Rich and I will be gone. Do the November, December meeting in November.
My only issue is whatever we talked about earlier.
Yeah, we're not gonna have whatever we were.
Whatever we talked about earlier happening December.
Right, because we talked that we were gonna have 2 meetings.
Well,
About the
because it was gonna be, it was
satisfaction.
the satisfaction
Right.
survey and then the video piece.
Do you
I-
want to have the December meeting earlier?
Yeah, that's another option is, would the group like to have a December meeting earlier?
Or the second option for that, if
Sure.
it would be making the satisfaction survey a subcommittee type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not pitching either. I'm just saying that to me would be the
Well,
other.
that's a great idea.
choice.
And to do this, if we did the satisfaction survey as a.
If we did that
subcommittee.
hardcore in November and then follow-up-y stuff happens to a smaller group, and then it really is a November, December meeting. So,
So you're thinking subcommittee in November to get.
no,
stuff done.
subcommittee in early December.
But wouldn't that have to go back to us as a full group
Probably in January.
in January?
Does it have to?
That's why I'm asking.
Not if we really go hardcore in November. I mean, we could try for an early December.
I mean,
Meeting.
I'm flexible, so
You're the only one we care about, Aaron. You see that,
Well,
right?
I know, and this is the surprise. So this is the time of year where I'm actually somewhat flexible.
So we want a
yeah.
December meeting then.
So the December 11th or 18th is fine, and
And Arlene, you said you're gone on the 18th.
Yeah, Arlene is gone. Cynthia, did you
Yeah,
have plans in December?
I'm around. I'm not taking any vacations. I'm here.
Okay,
I'm fine with December, and the November meeting, as it stands on the 20th, is fine.
So I'm voting for keep it as is right now.
Me too.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
okay, we won't change. Sorry, Arlene, I will give you the updates on that December meeting, or one of us
So
will.
For now, you're. still-
Okay, thanks, you guys.
Okay,
You can
so,
always change that at the next meeting if you.
Yeah,
need
you
to.
can.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, we can
still
always
keep
adjust it.
change,
Yeah.
always is.
so the next meeting will be November the 20th. And then let's discuss again the date for December. To see.
Tentatively set it for
10.
the 18th.
And would
Yeah.
you be there for the
Clarify
11th?
it.
Would you be there for the 11th, Arlene?
I'm sorry, for the 11th of
Of
December.
December, if it was if it was December 11th?
Yeah, I could zoom in. That's not a problem.
Okay, I'm not sure that we need to change it now. I'm just kind of curious. So
I'll just let
yeah.
you know, I won't be here. I won't be in the country. I'll be out of the country.
all of December?
Well, that first 2 weeks of December.
Okay. But you will be here the 18th.
Okay,
I'll
so,
be here on the 18th, but
Okay.
day after Thanksgiving through the 14th of December.
Okay, so November, we figure it out?
Mhm.
that okay?
let's,
I'll be
yes,
on a big ship.
November,
Oh,
let's figure
Yeah,
and talk
fine.
about that more. on
Great.
The date,
Do that.
because
Sounds
it's,
great.
okay. Is there anything else? So the
I've
next
actually
meeting,
got 2 sort of opportunity related questions. The easel, you mentioned that it was getting a little bit banged up. Is it still good for next farmer's market season?
oh, yeah,
Okay.
because, I see how banged up it got, and I just start taking it home and storing it at my place.
And then do you have that now? And are you taking it to the Halloween party at the library next week?
No, it's still sitting in my basement.
Are you planning to take it to the Halloween
Take
party?
that out, party.
I.
that sounds really bad. It's just sitting in my basement.
Get it out of the
Yeah, I keep on just, yeah.
Or do you
Um,
just have
I-
somebody else take it there? Because I heard it was going to be at the Halloween party.
So I think that the way I understood it, Michaela's gonna do a different type of display.
Okay.
And so, and I think that particular display was pretty much tallied out. I think you should do a different display.
About how many people go to the party?
Lunch.
Oh, 150,
Oh, you'll need a new display.
yeah.
And then the other question I had was, We had a fellow here in the audience at the last meeting who had indicated that had planned to apply for CEC. He indicated that he may have even done so, but we haven't received it. Does anybody know his name?
Kim?
All I remember was Kim.
Oh.
Or possibly Ken.
No, Kim.
Wait, was that
It was Kim.
was he from the?
He was at the town hall.
Yeah. Ooh, who
And I'd like
knew
to
him?
contact him to let him know we did not receive his.
I would,
application.
did you ask Bill?
Would Bill know him?
No, but Bill talked to him the most.
Okay.
I know his name was Kim. And as a girl millennial, I'm sure I could figure something out. Just a little Facebook and a little something, but
I've done.
if
a
you're
little
saying
investigating,
go,
I
I'll
can't
go.
find- Yeah.
Okay.
I did look at the recording of the town hall and I couldn't see.
You
that he
didn't
ever
use
mentioned his
block
name.
cameras to like.
And it was muffled. The audio was. very
Sorry.
muffled.
Thank you. Facial recognition.
Nice.
And in the event Kim is watching this recording,
Kim.
Kim, contact us.
Contact us, call us now.
Call it
Okay,
out.
you guys, we gotta adjourn this meeting. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank
See
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Great.